And here we are. Number one long song. Number one. I imagine that for YouTube, I am actually going to edit out the actual listening to, or at least YouTube is going to do some horrible, clumsy edits to edit out the actual listening of the track here. That's just how it is. I think I may well upload the full tracks to my Buy Me a Coffee page and maybe to a Patreon as well. So if you really, really want to have the experience of listening to the song and having the things pointed out to you, that's probably where you go. You can find a link to that in there. It will probably be for free, but if you feel like donating to me, go ahead. That's totally fine. Also, if you have any ideas about other songs that I should cover, please let me know about those. I will be very happy to. I have no specific aims with this series in particular, so we are just going to look at whatever long songs are long songs and build up an understanding of how long songs work from said long songs. So what long song are we going to start with here? Well, it is this boy, Telegraph Road by Dire Straits. I am very, very heavily connected to this song. I have experienced this song for a grand deal of my life, many, many years. It is very close to my heart. And it is 14 minutes and 18 seconds. No small song. We're also going to change what we've got over here. So we are going to select all this, or maybe just some of it. Yeah, no, I'm going to use the proper mouse. Basically, my mouse has been dying in the heat, which is really sad, as in my trackpad, so I've had to get a connected mouse. There we go. Okay, and what we're going to do here is we're going to do a big old line. And over here we have 1418. And hopefully this will be long enough. And then over here we have 0000. Okay, so we're starting at one end and going to the other end. Make it a sense? Yes, cool. Okay, let's see what we encounter. Let's start at 0000, shall we? Not 0001. That'd be heinous. I can't miss out that first second. Oh, wasn't it worth it? Yeah. Listen to that. Quiet silence. Oh, also, I should change my speakers to go through my headphones, shouldn't I? That might make a difference. Ah, there it is. Yeah, I can hear something now. Let's go back. Let's try that again. Just a tiny sound. But there it is. It's growing. How long is this going to grow for? Oh, thunder. Just like the album cover. Nice. Atmospheric. And a low rumble now coming through. There's an extra note. So we had basically 28 seconds there of just this growth of this one pitch with a slow rumble coming in underneath and a little bit of that thunder, but it's taken till 28 seconds in to get another pitch through. So that's already setting us up for a very long song, isn't it? A big intro. Let's see how long this intro goes on in this new version. Much more melodic now, isn't it? Oh. Okay, a new element added in at about 53 seconds. So So we had 28 seconds at the beginning of the next thing, and then basically double, well, the same amount again for the next part. So first, just the synth lead, very high, then the new synth lead coming in with more of a melodic sound to it. We're not going to go into melody and harmony very much in this series, but we are going to just explain what's going on, at least in these sections, so that we can identify them. And then, yeah, at 53, now we've got more of a guitar coming in. Let's keep listening. There's a piano, and I think a bass as well. This is slightly different material, isn't it, to what we had before? Okay, suddenly that hit of drum and bass just there as well. Lovely. So that's a hefty intro already. Maybe we'll continue on as well. From then the 53-second mark to 1 minute 35 is this combination of piano and synth and guitar, leading us through quite a lot of changes. Before that, we had this really static bass and static high pedal as well, inverted pedal if you like, that really high synth, and really just with the the movement of that synth in the middle being what happened. And then we get this movement of more harmonic proportions, right? Quite a lot of chords coming in. And then this slightly different manner of texture, although it's still got the same instruments in, they're just playing in a slightly different way, and we've got that held pedal going on with a really clear melodic feature, that we get that twice. So we could split this first section into two like that. Overall then we've got 4 different sections of the intro here, so already clearly longer than average, and split into maybe a little bit of an overture kind of thing. Maybe we've got some themes happening here that are going to occur later on in the piece. Let's keep listening then, and then we'll write something down as when we get some vocals in, I think. Much different mood now, isn't it? That very quiet drum stuff with the brrr in the background too. Okay, no guitar? Guitar! Guitar! Okay, slightly different mood. Okay. Cool. Wow, 2 minutes 17 then. That's the vocal introduction, presumably for a verse. Look, I know the song well. It's for a verse. So before that then we had at 28, didn't we? The synth introduction. So that's where the synth comes in. So that's still intro very much. Then at, where was it, 53, that was where the guitars came in. 53, guitar and piano. That's a very different section then, isn't it? I might go over this in like highlighter at a certain point to see different sections. And then at 1 minute 35 was when we got the change of mood. 1 minute 35 with the bass and drums. So we've been slowly layering things in. This is a classic thing to happen in an intro, but it's happened over a much longer time frame than often. Drums, okay. And then at 2:17, that's when the vocals have entered. Okay, 2:17. Vox. Okay. What kind of one are we looking at here? Well, we're definitely not looking at a true... Well, no, actually, I think there's really not much that's ruled out here, apart from a road to nowhere and a locked groove, because we've already changed so vastly that we can't be either of those. Let's keep going then.
Time ago, came a man on a track, walking 30 miles with a sack on his back, and he put down his load where he thought it was the best. Made a home in the wilderness.
Okay, that feels like a verse, doesn't it? And then another one from 2:36. Okay, feels very similarly structured. Okay, and then maybe another one, but we've definitely got two verses on the trots there. So 2:17, then 2:36. That's actually a fairly reasonable length for a verse. 02:36. Yeah, so wow, that's not a 3 at all, is it? 36, verse 2. And all the instruments then came in there, didn't they? So we'd had a quietening down just to guitar and vocals for that first verse, and then we get some more for the second verse, don't we? Okay, and now what's this next one? Is this another verse? And so far following the same pattern of chords. Now we'd have a G minor here, but we don't. And we say, where's the Telegraph Road? So we could argue that that's not the same, but I think it's sort of splitting hairs. Where did that come in again? Was it 2:57? No, probably not. Let's just go back. I hope I won't do this too much. Okay, 2:53/54. Okay, so that's verse 3, 2:53, 2:53. There we go. Let's call it verse 3, and verse 3 has an asterisk because it leads into a different section, which seems like something we've heard before. That's it. Okay, and that was about 3:10. Was the Telegraph Road? Yeah. Aha, yes, we have heard this before. Okay, so that section there was what we heard basically just before the vocals came in. It did have two sections in it, so that's the bass and drums. So let's call that theme A for now. Okay, we may update that if we get some earlier themes, but that's what we've got so far. Theme A. Okay, boom, and then yeah, from 3:10 I think it was. 3:10, we get A again. A. Is this legible? I could maybe have done the line more central, couldn't I? This is the same stuff that was finishing theme A as well, so that's nice. Two parts to theme A, but so far they're occurring the same way both times. Okay, 3:35, we've come in with what sounds a lot like another verse. Okay, Now, is this verse? It kind of sounds similar to when the guitar came in at the beginning, doesn't it? But there's something slightly different about it. The harmony's different. The tempo, I think, is actually different as well. So I don't think we're going to link those with a specific theme, but they definitely sound similar. Okay, verse 4. Right, nice. Already 4 verses, no real chorus, although we did say, was the Telegraph Road? Interesting. So this is not following a verse chorus thing. So a true long boy ruled out. Even the verses, they kind of have 2 sections to them, don't they? Okay, so that was like a verse. Again, it had a different ending to it. We got that G minor as normal, but then that G minor normally dum 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 goes into another verse. Actually, it was kind of like that. It was kind of like a standard verse, but with just this bigger swell in everything that was going on, and it has landed where we'd expect it to, back in F major. So that's cool. But then, is this another verse coming afterwards? Because the way that the words ended, like a rolling river, sort of ends us in a different place to what we would expect normally. We don't normally expect a silence with then came the whatever it might be afterwards. Yeah, so this is more of a solo, isn't it? Piano solo. But the material is verse material. And there's our okay, all right, yeah, so verse material, definitely stuff for the verse there. So then that's, what, that was like 356, 354, 3, 5, 4. Okay, let's say the verses have B theme material then. Okay, so the verses are all B themed material. And we've got then a piano solo which also has B themed material. Right, is this making sense? So we've really got mainly 2 different features here. One is our A section, which is this dark D minor, D Dorian, kind of thing. Oh geez, piano. It says piano, and then that's another B. Okay, boom for B, B for boom. Okay, and then it sounded like we were maybe going to go into the same kind of stuff here, 411, but it's a guitar solo. Yeah, this is definitely the same material, isn't it? There's our G minor. And into another verse, also still seemingly on the guitar solo. So 411. Looks like we're over halfway on the line, so I should probably keep these a bit closer together. 411, then that's guitar solo. And then with this next one here, we're extending that material over even longer than it was the first time. We had 3 verses together the first time. And now we've had a verse, a piano solo, a guitar solo, and it sounds like we're going to have another section of guitar here. Let's see. So we're at 429. Yeah, this is another guitar solo, or a continuation of the same guitar solo. Oh, but with a change of ending. Okay, where were we? 429, I think, right? 4, that's what I meant to do. 29, guitar again. And another B. Okay, this is untenable, isn't it? Why is my writing so much worse with a mouse compared to a trackpad? I don't know. Yeah, So that's another B. And then, yeah, that's led into our D minor kind of stuff, hasn't it? So from 445, we're looking at the D minor stuff. So probably theme A again. Okay. So all these themes have been very dynamic. They've been, each section has felt quite different in a lot of ways, even though it's been the same material. Sometimes it's been from a change of ensemble, sometimes a change of melody giver, i.e. piano or guitar or vocals. Sometimes we've had big shifts in dynamic level. So the first verse much quieter than the other ones. And even the, well, I guess verse 4 started fairly confident, but we've definitely built all the way through there to more dynamic excitement at the point of 445, where things are bringing it back down, aren't they? Slightly different ensemble, slightly more active maybe, but still the same material. Really nice change around of those chords, I think, from D minor to D major. Yeah. Oh, but this time we've actually cut out that second half of the A. The dum ba da 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 da. That's not here this time. So this is an A, but it's only A1, not A1 and 2. So it's not a full A. And then it's going somewhere else. I don't think we've had something that sounds like this bit next. 501. Let's write that on first. Okay. So we're already way past a standard song length. We've basically had two main sections. An A and a B, an A and a B. And then we've got this A at the end of it, with something seemingly new coming next. Okay, so this is quite drawn out material. I think it's great. I think it's really nice, storytelling. But yeah, what's this new bit then?
Radio says tonight it's gonna freeze. People driving home from the factories. 6 lanes of traffic, 3 lanes moving slow.
Oh, well, that was material from the beginning, from the opening. Is my vague interpretation of the piano line there. So that's stuff from between 0053 and 0135. So we've got to give that its own theme then. Well, just for ease of time, we'll call it theme C, because it's come up here as recurrent material after the others, but obviously it does start earlier. So if we were doing a more sensible thing here, we'd probably call it theme A and then change A to B and B to C. But whatever, we're calling it theme C here because it's the third one we've identified. So theme C is what we've got here. But it's more of a verse, isn't it? We could maybe call this a middle eight. Seems silly to call it chorus, but yeah, it's a verse with different material. So let's call it verse 5, but it's got C material. Cool. Wow, we've changed song all of a sudden. That's annoying. Why in the world has that happened? Go away, Frank Rosenvine. It's probably my phone has just suddenly connected. Right, fortunately we knew more or less where we were. So let's get back there. Okay. So, 0501. Yeah, it's this bit. We've heard that in the beginning. That's really nice. Also, a slowdown, isn't it? This is, yeah, more space to this section. 524, bit of a change there. Have we heard this material before? Actually, kind of sounds like a verse, doesn't it? Okay, but with a very different way of dealing with it at the end. That was mostly verse material. It comes in a little bit differently with that. But then we get a lot of the same changes we get in the verse. This kind of thing. We got them in a different order, I think. I think we went, yeah. Okay, let's see if I can. Whole thing is something like. What is going on with my tuning? Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. So it's definitely a development of that material, but lots of similarities between that that B material and this next stuff. So that was, I think, from 524. So let's get that in. 524. So that let's call that B2 then. So it was 524. So already, I mean, in the 5th minute, we're getting new material, we're getting development. So if our previous stuff up to this point, maybe up to the previous bit, was sort of our exposition, giving us our A and B themes as a true exposition would, then this is definitely our development, isn't it? This is our B2. And it's a piano solo at this point. And also so much slower than the other bit, isn't it? Piano. Nice. Let's keep going. Okay, this feels like very similar material, but it's a guitar solo, isn't it? So similar dynamic to the previous bit. Yeah, and then again, it sounds like we're going to have a double section guitar solo. It makes sense because Dire Straits is led by Mark Knopfler, who is a big old guitarist, I would say first and foremost, but technically, I guess he's a singer as well and a songwriter. Sorry, where did that start? It ends at 6:18. That's great. Does it start somewhere like 5:45? Yeah, close. 5:52 going up to 6:18. So 5:52. That's A2 again. No, B2. Oh man, B2. Let's not get this messed up. B2 and guitar. Okay, so if I were going to go over this with highlighter so far, let's do that. What we've got, let's go for red for our theme A. Do we have a highlighter? No. Let's just choose a nice brush like that. It wants to be semi-transparent though, really, doesn't it? Okay, let's go for spray can. So our theme, theme C is this stuff. Okay, and that comes in here again. And then we've also got our theme B, which is green, which starts, sorry, it's theme A actually, isn't it? Starts here, we've got a little bit here, and then we've got a little bit here. And then we've got our B theme, which is fairly dominant. We've got a lot of that taking up a lot of the timeline so far. All of this is B theme. And then we have our B2 starting here. So let's just change to a slightly different blue. And that's what we've got here. Okay. Lovely. All right, and then it sounds like we're going to get another one of those from, I think 618 was where it was. Yep, this is definitely the same stuff, isn't it? More, again, it's built through this reiteration of the same material. It's still building through it. Okay, but what about this then? 643. Let's go back to our black pencil. So that was 618. Let's just put ditto. 618. Ditto. And then, yeah, this stuff maybe sounds a little different because we've come down quite a lot. Let's see if it is the same, because it started with the same 2 chord changes. 644. There's our 5. So far, it is actually kind of the same material. Yeah. So it is the same material, but because of the textural change, it sounds very, very different. It sounds much more sort of comforting rather than that main sad kind of thing. And it leads all the way to 708. So we've got piano again there. Piano being dominant, but yeah, we lost the drums as well, minus drums, and that's another B2. Okay, and then 708, let's just mark it in so I don't forget it. 7-0. I hope you appreciate the janky stylings here. It is, well, try and do this with AI. Oh, that feels like we're going back to another normal verse, doesn't it? But what's that material then? Have we got an example of that material from earlier in the song? The place I would check is the end of the first A section. So let's go back to, we're on 717. Let's go back to 150 or thereabouts. Let's see if that's similar. Oh, okay, that's actually a bit too early. Okay, so after this, which is clearly our main A section, then we've got our like second section of the A. Which leads into our B. Let's compare that. So this is our end of our B2 section. Yeah, it's not a pound for pound match, but I would say it has more in connection with that than anything. So that's basically an A part 2 then. Okay, and it's joining material rather than really being its own theme, but we'll call it A2. We'll paint it pink. And why not, while we're at it, we'll do all the other B2s. There we go. Okay, so then we're at 716.
I used to like to go to work, but they shut it down. I got a right to go to work, but there's no work here to be found. Yes, and they say we're gonna have to pay what's owed. We're gonna have to reap from some seed that's been sowed.
All right. Very clearly, that's another verse, isn't it? That's exactly the same kind of stuff as we got in the first B. Okay, no ifs or buts. That is another verse. So verse 6 at this point, whole lot of verses, but it isn't a road to nowhere, is it? Because even though these verses are very similar, a lot of the adjoining material is quite different. Okay, then it sounds like we've got another verse from 735 or so. Yeah, it's another verse. All the way. How's it going to end? Aha, down the Telegraph Road. I think for only the second time then, but yeah, that's really leading us to the next section. So it has that alteration of material at the end. So it's a B. Yeah, it's verse 7 with a dash or with an asterisk. Okay, because it's basically the same B material. It's just got that different ending that leads us to the A material again. Okay, and that's what we've got now at 7:51. Clearly, it's A material. I love this kind of guitar playing pattern there. It's so satisfying. Okay, so that's where we'd normally end. Oh, we've got a bit of a continuation of this. I guess we did have that for the first time. We had a longer version. Okay, so 8:23, that's leading us up to. That was quite a long A section then in comparison. It didn't have the second section to it. It just had the first section. So yeah, we can call that A1, but a longer A1. Okay, nothing too complicated then really so far. I mean, the nuances vastly interesting in comparison to overall the material. The material stays very constant with just a little bit of difference from one A section to another. For instance, this A1 is longer than the previous A1, and it's different to the other A's because it doesn't have the end section, but it's small differences. Vastly, we've connected things together in quite simple ways. 8:23 we're now at. I think we've saved space pretty well. It does look very confusing when I look at it, but the colors are definitely helping. We'll fill in the colors at the end, I think. Oh no, has my keyboard stopped? No, okay, there we go. It started working again. Whoa, must be too hot. Okay, all right, going on. What's this then? Okay. So it does sound like a verse, but that intro was just a little bit different, wasn't it? Let's hear it again. So here's our A. Because normally our verses start in F major. So they start with this warm, bright, fun, happy sound. But then this one doesn't. Oh, but it eventually gets there quite quickly, actually. And then we're in. So that's really, I mean, that's one of my favorite moments of this song. So it turns around the verse. It's the same material, almost entirely the same. And it definitely counts as our verse 8 now. Whoa. But really nicely, it does the B material, but with this slight bit at the beginning, just leading us from the A material into the B material in a different way. So it doesn't feel like a pure repeat. It's really, really nice. I'm going to put an asterisk at the beginning of it. Okay. Yeah, so that's standard B material most of the way, although with really nice piano playing with it. but it's all the same chord changes, the same rhythm of the vocals, pretty much. So are we going to have another verse now? Probably a louder verse, I would say. You know, that's been the general tenor of this song, is it's been quiet and then builds into these louder bits. Yeah, another verse. Oh. That's different. Yeah. Okay. Things might change from there, but that was I mean, a classic thing to do in a shorter song. On the final chorus, you might add some extra bits to the end. I'm sorry, I'm so out of tune. But what do we get? Stay with me, baby, and I'll take you away from out of the darkness and into the day, from the rivers that lights these rivers of rain, from the anger that lives on the streets with these spirits. 'Cause I run every red light on memory lane. I seen desperation explode into flames, and I don't wanna see it again. So instead of just the one bum 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 down your track was the there and then boom boom boom. Instead of having either of those endings, it's gone for a repetition of the same material. So taking a whole lot longer over the same material, just repeating that last phrase over and over again with new words, which I think is a really satisfying thing to happen in the 9th minute of a song. Wow, we have managed to go all this time basically with the same verse structure. We've had 9 verses now, and while some of them have slightly different endings, this is the first one with like full extension on the end. So it's a V9, it's B material, and it has an extension on the end. A really nice development. Yeah. And that gets a plus next to it to indicate that it's longer. Okay, what about this next bit then?
From all of these signs saying sorry, but we're closed all the way.
Oh.
Down the Telegraph road.
We've heard that before. Clearly we've gone back to A at the end there, which is nice, but we've heard that stuff before. Down the Telegraph road. Right, we've heard that stuff before. Where did we hear it? Where did we hear it? Where did we hear it? Well, we heard it really close to the beginning. Let's hear from let's hear from 135. So this 135 was when the no, it wasn't. No, 53 was when the guitar came in. So we'll go from there, or thereabouts. 57. We know we've got this C material here, which has came up on the, and my radio says tonight it's gonna freeze. People driving home from their factories at a different speed, clearly. 6 lanes of traffic, 3 lanes move all the way. There it is. There it is at 1 minute 17. So we've got to put in a new division here at 1 minute 16, I think. 1:16. Now, do we call that C2? Well, not really. I don't think we should, because it's occurring by itself here. We haven't had C before it. So I think this should be D material. Dematerialize. D material. So we've had 2 themes in the first 2 minutes that only occur seemingly once in the rest of the stuff. We've got the red material here, and we're just about to get the D material. That said, we have a moment here that's completely unique, I think. From all of these signs, from all of these signs saying sorry, but we're closed. So that doesn't have a corollary. That's unique. So 9 to 11, we could write unique material, and I say corollary every time. I mean, similar thing. There's a word that's like that, beginning with "car," and I can never remember it. Correlative, maybe? No. Like, it doesn't have a good comparison, I guess, is one thing that we could say. Anyway, so really then, we could consider that part of the new section, or we could consider that part of the previous section. I'm going to consider it part of the new section just for ease, but it is slightly different. Let's go from 9:11 then. Is it 9:11? Yeah. Oh, unfortunate. Okay, and then this is our D material, with maybe an asterisk on the beginning, but we're not going to bother with that. So there it is, that beautiful descending thing on a different bass note, I think. So that's an interesting change of sound to it. And then 8 minutes after it first entered, we're back with our A material. Okay, wow. At 9:34. I have now ruined how I am doing these. 9:34. Yep, it definitely is. There's that beautiful guitar line. Same kind of thing. It's different every time though, which is, it's the real spice, man. It's so good. That crappy MIDI bell there. Not even mad. Oh, this feels a little bit different to previous times. Oh, well, now we have gone on at quite a lot of length for this A. So we're now at 10:08 and we're still at A. So 30 seconds. Where are our other A's? A2 there went from 7:08. Surely not 7:08 to 7:11. That's really short. Hang on. A2. Interesting. What have I done here? What have I done? Yeah, no, I mean, it seems like that is what it is. But anyway, we'll go over it in a minute. In fact, why don't we listen to it at the end, and we'll see how all these sections go into each other. But 10:08, that's our A again, seemingly. Okay, let's keep listening to it. This is definitely a different theme, though, melodically, but it seems like the same material harmonically. Yeah, still got a lot of the same things going on there. Okay, all right. I'm willing to call that A. Like, we've already had A1 and A2, so I guess this would be A3, which is broadly based on the first A1 material, rather than rather than the A2 material. Oh, that's why it's so short, is because it's the ba da 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 ba da 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 ba, which is arguably a different theme, but we've called it A2. And so yeah, now this is maybe A3, which is based on the A1 material. Are you following? So that's just this this big D minor bow 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 da da stuff. Yeah, cool. So what are we on? 10:23. Actually, yeah, these ones are shorter, aren't they, than the verses? Kind of makes sense. 10:23, getting big numbers now. So this feels like another A3, but maybe with a different beat underneath it. It's that bass, isn't it? That's really what's changing this feel. Because it's so much more up tempo. yeah, there we are. That's another version of that stuff. So A3, and we're at 10:38. Spoilers, this guitar solo goes on for the rest of the song. Whoa, that's a healthy old guitar solo. How long are each of these sections going to be? Basically 15 seconds. I don't think we're going to bother to write them in after this point. But yeah, A3, that's what we've got. That's interesting because this is material which we've had since the second minute of the song, but now it's being used ad infinitum for basically a jam track at the end of the song. Let's hear it. Okay, there's another one. Okay, so this one doesn't quite have the same theme to it. So it's a little bit of a variation. So what should we call it? A3 star? Ah, and then that's a real pickup there, isn't it? Gosh, that's yeah, very satisfying. That boom, ba-da, don't, boom. Sudden change into it's like, okay, we've been building, we understand that, and you're excited by that, but now we have built to whatever this one is. I've not written them in, but yeah, this doesn't have the theme of the A3s, and neither did the previous one. So we could call it A4, we could call it A3 star. I'm just for ease going to call it A4, but it's based on A3, so we could call it A3A. It's now more of an actual like guitar solo kind of thing, isn't it? A4, and so the guitar solo is based more on improvisation and less on less on a specific theme. But let's hear how it continues. Okay, is that a new one? Yeah, I think so. Same kind of deal. A4. Don't know if you've noticed, but there is actually a like counter theme, which occurs every sort of like third bar if we're going really slowly, but it's more like every fifth and sixth bar, I guess. Okay, another. Everyone going off on one. Keyboards, basses, just doing their own thing. We actually didn't have the co-theme there. Oh, we've reached a new highness. Oh boy. I want to call that different, but I'm going to give it another A4. Another. Okay. Top D. Fantastic. Really stretching. Now this is another theme that comes in here. It's very sort of westernish, isn't it? That theme. There is a Western influence on Dire Straits music, definitely. I'm going to call it A5. So we're coming in here with A5 at minute 12 and 25 seconds. 1, 2, 2. God, long songs are just the best, aren't they? You've had 10 minutes, 12 minutes to build to this. And hasn't it been worth it? We've had a pretty exciting song with a lot of narrative worth to it. And then, and it has just led us down into this absolute terminal climax wonder. Let's hear it. Let's keep hearing it. There's that theme again. Here's our next. We're back to A3. Battle down, down, battle down, down. but with some wonderful piano over the top. Really good. What comes next? Okay, another A3 with a really cool piano over the top. In threes. Yeah. Okay. What next? Okay, some more material we're not familiar with, but again with that piano riff over the top. Really nice. Da 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 da. That's that pro theme. There's our 5 again. A5. Oh man, this gives me chills even now, man. Wow. Okay, back to A4. Ah, swooning. God. There's that piano riff again, slightly changed. Okay, new material again. And then a fade. Feels like the guitar's stopping, actually. Wow. So we could argue that's an A6 at the end there. Bleed neck. What a endorphin rush. Holy moly. I adore that. I think that's just fantastic, and the way it builds and just the nuance of how the guitar builds is just incredible, isn't it? Because it doesn't just build in pitch, and well, it does build in pitch, but we reach like the pitch zenith around like minute 13, and then we've got a minute and a half left to do other stuff in. We repeat themes, then we add in a new theme. Yeah, really, really fantastic stuff. I don't think every single section is as good as the next, but God, it preserves my excitement the whole way through. Wow. Okay, so let's update our colors. Beautiful colors, right? So we need a new color for D. So let's add yellow. So we go, well, okay, we've got this synth at the beginning. Is that anything? It's hard to say. I would probably not consider that a main theme that we've got here, but it does have some similarities maybe to the main melody. So you could argue that's actually where we get that main B melody. But I'm not going to do that. Okay, then we have some Bs to put in. Here we've got that A2. Yeah, that's A2 already in. B there. But just beat in me, baby, and I'll take you away. There we go. A1 then after that. Now we've had an A1 already. We did just color it the same as the A. I think that's reasonable. So let's get that in. There it is. Then we had another B. Yes, it was the B that started with the minor feel, wasn't it? So that's going back to blue. And then we had another blue, and this one extended a bit long, didn't it? Then we had our D. From all these signs saying sorry that we're closed. It's not quite the same, but we're going to give it the same color because it's the only time the bloody thing turns up. And that's actually kind of sad to me. Although what's really beautiful about it, I suppose, is that it almost bookends that the whole song part of the thing. We do have a little bit of that C theme just before it, but yeah, it's almost bookended by the D theme, saying this is the beginning, this is the end, and they both lead quite gloriously into our A. Yeah. And then we have our A3. Now let's just pick another color for A3, I suppose. We could go with the pink, but I'm going to go with the dark red. A3. And we're going to change colors depending on whether it's A3 or A4 as well. So let's get all the A3s in first. That's an A5, A3, A3. Then we've got A4. Lots of A4. A4 is less defined than A5 or A3, so you'd expect it to be there more, because it's really just an improvisation. Let's just do that. And then A5, we've actually run out of red colors, so let's just make one quickly. Yeah, something like that. A5. We'll get that in there. Just a small one, and one there. Okay, wow. What a cool song. So what does it fit into? What category does it fit into? Is it a locked groove? No, it's not. Is it a great divide? Kind of. Yeah, it's kind of a great divide, because we've got everything up to the last D and then everything after it. So we could make a line straight through there and call it a great divide. It's not an equal divide, and the A material that we've got in that last section is basically stuff that we've had earlier, so it doesn't really work that way. But that last, well, 4 minutes at least is pure one section, disconnecting it to the previous things, which have been very multifaceted and changing. So we do have a great divide there, but I wouldn't say that it counts as a great divide just because we've had lots of that material earlier. And is it a blockbuster? Again, there's an argument to be made there, because we've got I've just been doing totally the wrong colors for that, haven't I? Oh man, yeah, it was meant to be green. Right, let's just for ease of everyone who's looking at this, let's redo that in green. Gosh, what a silly sausage. I even did the wrong one there. Wow, okay, that's probably what misled me. That A2 should be that green. And then the A over here is meant to be green. Right, okay, let's just do a quick job on this then. Then we have A3, we're just gonna have to make a load of colors. Okay, there's a different green. Yep, A3, A3. Then we have our A4. Yep, something like that. A4 going through to there, and some there, and some there. Lovely. And then let's go back to our A3 for those extra bits of A3. And then we'll do the A5 as well. Slightly darker maybe. A5. Okay, that's more like it. That's more like it. Sorry about that. That was very silly of me. Hopefully in future ones I will get familiar with which colours mean what. So blockbuster then, there's again an argument, which is that we have the A stuff at the beginning, we have the A stuff at the end. So there's a connection there, but this it feels very unbalanced, doesn't it? And the development then would include basically every main theme, which doesn't really make sense. We don't get any of the B at the end either, so really we, there's an argument there, but it doesn't seem very strong. It's not a road to nowhere because the B's don't constantly feed back into the A's. They do that a lot, and they do that in the end, but we've got other things going on, and a huge amount of variation in the B's themselves as well. So not one of those. It's not a true long boy because we have a horrendous amount of verses and a massive guitar solo, as well as piano solos and guitar solos littered through. 3 guitar solos and 2 piano solos, I think, which is nuts. And the guitar solos are twice as long as the piano solos. So that's a lot of soloing stuff in there. Yeah, and we've got 9 verses. So no, absolutely not. Is it a true long boy? What? It's not a TV series, although there's more of argument for a TV series because we have the A here, 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 we have the A to end. But that ending of the A seems to not be in keeping with the standard model of a TV series. As well as that, we have a lot more connections between the different episodes, which we don't expect for a TV series. So then we're looking at, is it an independent film? No, because we have very clearly delineated sections. So absolutely not. Is it then a novel? A novel seems to me the most sensible one to do because we have endless variation of these main themes, mostly A and B. So mostly just the main two, but we do still get the C and the D coming in specific sections. So it gives us this added excitement. It's nowhere near as complicated as something like 2112. So maybe doesn't quite deserve that defining thing. But then what else would we call it? We'd call it a great divide, I suppose, or a hero's journey. So I think we're looking at a novel here with 4 different main themes that come back at different times in unique ways that make it novel, right? That's part of the main deal. So that's great. But yeah, we definitely do have a big divide between that end guitar solo and the rest of the song. And then, it's therefore not going to be a jukebox because we've got much more continuation between the things, and same deal with the photo album. It's not going to be one of those. So it is an 8. Great. All right. So that was the first outing of this new series, The Art of the Long Song. Big subject. And I hope you enjoyed it. That's long, isn't it? Wow. Yeah, we took an hour and 40 talking about all that over only 14 minutes of music. Well, I've done worse. I've talked about 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes of music for 2 hours before. So anyway, that's what we expect. We probably will be able to go a bit faster in the future because we'll be more expectant of different forms and things like that. But yeah, that's our first one. Would you, and I say I mean mine and yours. If you would like some specific songs, I already have a couple of songs that have been suggested, which I will get to pretty quick. But yeah, if you have any other songs, please suggest them and I will probably get to them relatively quick. See ya, have a good day and a good life, and keep snowball farming.